Started in IT, exchanging green screens for PCs back in the 90s and worked for a number of vendors. Became a huge fan of end-user computing and desktop virtualization because I was responsible for 20,000 desktops in every location under the sun, from a central office to a small shack in the middle of nowhere for a transportation company. So I spent 5 years at Citrix, 5 years at Microsoft, and 3 years at VMware, all focused on desktop virtualization and end-user computing. So when I heard from Microsoft that Windows Virtual Desktop was coming, I realized it was going to be such a seismic shift in the industry. And I looked at a number of the vendors that were up and coming in the market and saw the CloudJumper platform had what most of my customers were asking me for. So the first time ever, I called the CEO up, I called JD and said, JD, I know you don't know me from Adam, but I need to come work for you. So what separates CloudJumper from others in the industry is we're truly born in the cloud. And we have a great understanding. EUC is in our DNA. When the CloudJumper features are built, we add a REST API for that feature before we add a UI. This allows customers to use the tools and tool sets within their organization to automate the platform and extend the CloudJumper platform even further. So if a customer wants to integrate with ServiceNow or Workday to create a seamless end-to-end process and eliminate a ticket having to be opened and an engineer having to put their hands on something that an automated system can take place, our APIs give customers that flexibility. One of the main reasons I see customers moving their desktops to the cloud and the trend of desktops moving to the cloud is not only the changes that Microsoft's made with Windows Virtual Desktop, but other things taking place in the industry. I recently spoke to a CTO who I had spoke to over 2 years ago, who said, we will never go to the cloud. We will always be on-prem environment, that's our place. And when I saw him a few months ago, he said, I'm moving all my desktops to the cloud. And I asked him why, and he said, well, I have this desktop virtualization environment, and because of the Spectre and Meltdown bugs, it took a big performance hit on our proprietary application. So I'm looking at spending $3 million in additional hardware to meet my customers' needs today, right? Just to make up for that performance hit. That's $3 million that adds zero value to my business. It's $3 million that increases my total cost of ownership and reduces my ROI. And he said, but the biggest thing is, it's not that $3 million I'm worried about spending, is when's the next hotfix that's going to come out and cost me $10 million? And that's one of the big reasons I see customers rapidly adopting the cloud. It gives them the flexibility to pay for what they're using, when they're using it, versus having a massive data center full of desktop or servers that they have to patch, maintain, and rotate through. The reason I'm excited about Windows Virtual Desktop is I really believe it changes the game in desktop virtualization and end-user computing. It's the best of both worlds that we've been asking for over 20 years. The other factors that are taking place in today's business is also accelerating that demand for moving desktops to the cloud. Whether it be a ransomware that's every other day we're hearing of a new ransomware or customer hit, targeted, things like that. Whether it be 5G is now really starting to roll out, so data is becoming more ubiquitous. Customers and work from home and remote work is becoming a high priority for every organization out there in today's tight labor market. And it just makes sense. If you have your desktops in the cloud, it gives you the flexibility to dynamically adjust your organization based on the needs of today, not the needs of yesterday. I've been on both sides of the fence as a customer and as a vendor. And one of the things that never changes is the fact that it's supporting the business and keeping that in mind. When we do things at CloudJumper, it's with everyone in mind, from the business department to the administrator. What makes the administrator's job easier and what makes the user's life easier. At CloudJumper, it's in our DNA to delight the customer.